Thank you. It is truly an honor and a pleasure to be here sharing fellowship with all the young and middle-aged men just like myself in here. I do have a message that I want to share with everybody. And first of all, I'm going to start this message off with a song. And no, I am not going to be singing it. If I can get it the right way. Let's try it. I don't know if I did something wrong.
Click in the middle. Click on the blue.
It's playing.
There you go.
I don't hear anything.
Go ahead. You can full screen.
Full screen? Right here.
I don't know where your volume is.
The volume should be here. Not here. We're going to get this right. Bear with me. I don't hear anything. Would the volume be here? But during the time he's getting this, I'm going to share this with you. I'll tell you a little bit about myself and the reason why I am on the crusade that I am.
Hold on just a second, I'll turn that off for you. Okay, whenever you're ready, just click in the middle.
Greg is the man.
Whenever you're ready, you want me to put this
We'll let this play for a little bit. I want everybody to concentrate on this song for a few minutes because this is where I'm at in my stage of life. I'm at the point where I'm giving myself away so the good Lord can use me. That's my purpose. Sometimes it takes us a while to find our purpose. With that person that goes passion. So let's listen to the song for a couple of minutes and we're going to go from there. I give myself away so you can use me. I give myself away.
What would happen?
I give myself away so you. Everybody. Here I am. Here I stand. Lord, my life is in your hands. Lord, I'm longing to see your desire is in me. I give myself away. I wanted you guys to hear that portion before I start. I wouldn't call it a sermon. One thing, I want everybody to know that I am not a preacher. I am a teacher, if that makes any sense. But whatever that might mean, I believe in the Lord. And everything that's about me is based on what the Lord puts in me. Just like I just received a download just now to go out and share my story with you. As he mentioned, I haven't shared a whole lot with this group on what I am doing or who I am, but I'm going to share some of those things today. My name is James Cooley. I was born and raised in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Chattanooga, Tennessee in the late 50s, beginning of the 60s. I was born 7 of 10 kids by a woman that had 6 different fathers, and she was never married. We lived in what we call the ghetto, or in our case, we call it something a little worse than that, because there was nothing there, and there was no way out. Gangs-related death occurred on a regular basis. seeing somebody get shot was nothing. And you'll understand where I'm going with this in a few minutes. But there was no positive figures around us. Our only job was to get through the day without getting killed. That's the environment that I grew up in. Now, when I was 6 years old, my mother, again, she had 10 kids, and she couldn't take care of all 10 of us by herself. So she sent me and my brother Jerry, who was 7, to Alabama to live with my aunt and uncle. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Alabama. Alabama, during the time that I was there, we did not have any running water. We had a well outside, a well where you had to wind the water up out the ground in a bucket. Anybody in here familiar with that? We had what we called an outhouse. An outhouse. And we said, what's an outhouse? Well, outhouse is a bathroom without any facilities. And guess what? Our outhouse was shared with the Muse out in the pasture. Wow. Yeah, so we did not have any electricity in the house at all. So we had candles, and we had a wood burning stove. Some of the things that we did have, we had chickens, pigs, had a couple of cows. We had potatoes, fields, gardens. But most importantly, you know what we had? Was love. I felt rich. I felt rich, extremely rich, coming from Chattanooga, Tennessee, where we lived in a project, people getting killed, all of these things. You had to be forced into gain or whatever. Back in Alabama, I felt rich. Now, I continued to live in Alabama for about another 5.5, 6 years, and I decided I want to go back to Tennessee. So I asked my aunt and uncle, I said, hey, I want to go back to Tennessee. They looked at me. They did not say a word. I said, okay, Junior, we'll send you back. I went back to Tennessee. I went back to the same environment, the exact same environment that I left 5.5, 6 years ago. Standard operating procedures, boom. Somebody getting shot, cuts, stabbed, whatever it is. Struggling again, trying to figure out a way of getting away from this type of lifestyle. As I mentioned, there was no way out. The only way out of this society was through death, or if you got lucky, you had an opportunity to go to school, college, which very few of us understood, and which very few of us ever took that opportunity. So, when I was in the 9th grade, I had just one teacher that took a special interest in me, and I did not understand. I mean, I was one of the type of students that did well in school, but she took a special interest with me and said, hey, James, next year when you go to high school, are you planning on going to high school right up the street with everybody else? And I said, yes, ma'am. She said, James, I see something in you. She said, you don't have to go to that high school. I said, Miss Wilson, the high school is only a half a mile up the street. She said, why don't you go to the high school across town? It's a vocational school. About 7 miles across town. I said, Miss Wilson, I do not know if I can pass that test to get in there. Yeah, she said, I'm 100% sure you can pass that test. What Miss Wilson did was she took me over, I took the test, I did well. My point is this. That was the first time that anyone had ever told me anything that, I could do anything. That was the first time that someone had taken that type of interest in me and said, you can do this. Wow. My whole frame of mind changed after that. I attended Kirkman Technical High School, which was 7 miles from where I was at. Most of the time I had to storm a ride. That's what we called it back in the day. Or sometimes you had to walk. Walk halfway, somebody pick you up. But the good Lord made sure that I got there every day. Made sure that I got the proper education there. So I did well. Who's of America 2 years in a row, junior, senior year. I did well. But upon completion of high school, it's still, how do I get out of there? We did not have the money to send me to school. How do I get out of there? Now, I tell you, in Chattanooga, there is one road, and the road goes straight. Down that particular road, that's where your jobs are at, whether it's working over in the foundry or the chicken house or this and that. Just one road. At least that's what we saw in Chattanooga. One road. The reason we saw that is because most of us have what we call tunnel vision. Tunnel vision, meaning that we're looking straight ahead. And not only do we have tunnel vision, we have what we call paradigms. Paradigms prevent us from moving our head left or right. Or you can move it, but that tunnel vision is there. One day I was walking down that road where everybody else had walked or had been walking. And sometimes we think, and we accidentally forget and let our paradigms down for that moment. So I let my paradigms down for a brief moment, and I'm walking down that road. Anybody remember Robert Frost? The road less traveled? We're walking down that road. And I'm walking, I see all these footsteps, and I turn around and accidentally look to the left. Wow! It was some footsteps going to the left. And I turned around and looked. Wow! It was some footsteps going to the right. I stopped there and said, wow, options. I got some options now. I do not have to take that road straight ahead where everybody else have taken that road. I had to make a decision. Anytime you make a decision, that requires risk. I made that decision and I turned left. And I began to walk down that road left. And all of a sudden, about halfway down that road, a bus pulled up. I jumped on that bus, and that bus took off. For about a mile, and I looked up. The bus said Navy. The bus said Navy. So by taking that bus, and as we took the bus in the Navy, we started creating options. More options appeared. And through options, several potential opportunities can occur. So options create opportunities. And opportunities occur. But guess what? We got to make the right decision when we're doing these things. Because you only get one chance. Let me equate that with this. Knowledge. Everybody know what knowledge is. Mike and I had a little discussion last week about this. Knowledge. Knowledge are the things that we learn from our surroundings, our parents, our failures, our successes, our upbringing, all of those things. So knowledge, what does knowledge bring you? What can you do with knowledge?
Everything.
I don't think you can do anything with knowledge. The reason why is knowledge. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you do not apply that knowledge, and we apply that to understanding. Let's go back to options, knowledge, understanding, opportunity. Knowledge and understanding provides you a key. Nothing else. Provides you a key. And say, for example, with this key that we have, let's say we wanted to go to the zoo. Everybody know what animals and noises at the zoo sound like, right? So we got this key that's going to get us, we got 10 doors. Remember, this key only fit one door. I mean, we have to make the right choice. So in order to make the right choice, sometimes we have to go up to the doors and make sure that that is where we want to go. So we try to distinguish which one of these doors open up the zoo. So we listen. Look, listen, and learn. You hear noises, that's not it. You listen to all 10 doors. Now we done cut it down to 3. So, well, God, I heard a noise behind this one go, mm-hmm. Then you go to the next door. Then you go to the next door. So I don't have to utilize this one. Remember, the key only fits one door. So you go one more time. We always have to check. So there's certainly a zoo behind this door. So you open that up. Open it up, animals, everything. That key opened up wisdom. Wisdom. Knowledge, understanding provide you the key to wisdom. Options, opportunity provides you to know how to make the right choices. We got to make the right choices. And what I'm here to talk about today, a little bit more, bear with me, it's about our youth. It's about our youth. And let me get to that. Hope I haven't lost anybody yet. That's Alt. How do I get to it?
Alternate tab.
Alt tab. Talked a little bit about myself, gave you a quick understanding. But let me tell you, I'm a Lean Six Sigma guy. And I don't know if a lot of you are in here familiar with Lean Six Sigma. Lean Six Sigma is a process improvement. Also get rid of defect. The formula for Lean Six Sigma, the output is out of every 1 million product, you are only allowed to make 3 mistakes, 3 defects. So Lean Six Sigma tried to get it right all the time. And believe it or not, life is all about Lean Six Sigma. Lean Six Sigma is the yield, which is the output. The output that comes out of the process. The process is the process that you're living in, your life, whatever system that you're living in. And the X is the inputs. You can have several inputs, 10, 11, which times the factor, whatever system that gives you an output. This applies to every form of life it is. So Lean Six Sigma. I'm gonna tie this into my introduction. Now we're caught in a generation where our youth, I believe our youth are roaming free. They feel entitled. They try to control their parents. They're not taking education seriously that much anymore. And they're just running wild. I believe that we have to get control of our youth because they are our leaders for tomorrow. But it's tough. You know, youth versus a generation. Our generation was not like this. You know, right now, the laws make it tough for us as well. If you spank your kid butt, they get mad, call the police to come lock you up. We still have to parent. We have to parent. You know, so I believe that a lot of times when we're parenting now, especially, and it's easy to say when you grew up in a single parent home, that there was not a whole lot of things to do. But a lot of times what we do now, we drop our kids off at parties or the YMCA or wherever that might be. We drop them off. And we don't go in to find out what they're doing or who their friends are. I call that parenting abroad. When you drop your kids off and there is no supervision or you're not checking on them, that's parenting abroad. And soon as something happened, they get in trouble. Little Johnny get in trouble. Little Susie get in trouble. We was not in their lives because we did not follow up on them. I like to think that we need to get back to parenting in the shadow. Parenting in the shadow, in my opinion, means that you know where your kids are at. You know who their friends are. You know what they're doing. You're working with them with their homework and all of these things. We have to be a part of their lives. And that starts from the parents. That starts from the parents. So, a couple of things. I'm going to talk to you guys and speed this up a little bit. We're going to talk about what I call the 4 C's. And I'm going to explain that to you in a minute. One thing I want to talk to you about is the plan. The plan. Anytime that, whether it's an organization, whether it's a business, whether it's a company, most importantly, a home. I like to think of home as an organization as well. You got a mother and a father, you got the kids, you got everything. It's an organization. The parents know exactly what they have to do to make sure that the bills are paid, that the kids are taken care of. But we also have to look at all of these other factors as well. Costs, clothes, school, love, sitting down at the table, eating. Most times, if you went out, in today's generation, a family of 4 or a family of 5 went out, they had 3 teenagers, and say you headed over to Red Lobster to eat dinner. Now you're eating dinner, the mom and the dad is talking, and 13, 14, 15-year-old, guess what they're doing? They're texting. They haven't even raised their head. And we are allowing that to happen. We got to get that back. We have to pull all of that back. So I think that we start, again, in the family. Let me tell you about the worldview of people. We call it the 87, the 10, and the 3. 87, let me tell you about that. Most of the world, I'm not just talking about, most of the world are what we call the 87 percenters, meaning that anything you tell them, they're going to do it. I mean, if you tell them that the world is flat, they're going to walk and believe the world is flat. Those are what we call average and ordinary. There's nothing wrong with being average and ordinary. But they're average and ordinary. 10% of the world, and this goes with our kids is what I'm trying to say. 10% of the world are what we call, they're going to buck the system. Sabotage the system. Do whatever else. You say right, they say wrong. You say yes, they say no. But this 10% of the people will never be a part of the 87% of the people. Because it's not that they don't understand, it's just they want to do it their way. And sooner or later, they're going to figure out that they can't do it their way. And the majority of those 10%ers roam into what I call the 3%ers. The 3%er, by the way, I'm a 3%er. The 3%er are the folks that are visionaries. They always have a plan. They can influence. They see the big picture. And they think about how they're going to make that big picture work for everybody else. A lot of times the 3%ers are kind of greedy, money hungry, but that's what controls the world. Now, I'm not one of the money hungry, I'm the visionary type, so let's get that straight. But 3%, so we got 3 types, and if you add that up, that adds to 100. So what are you? I mean, remember, there is nothing wrong with either one of those. But when it comes to our kids, I think that we have to try to instill as much as we can in them to ensure that they are going to get up as high in that percentage as possible. The 10%ers, primarily the goal is 3%. So how we do that? I got a suggestion on how we do that. Just like I mentioned earlier, we talked about the entitlement syndrome. First of all, we have to get our kids away from that. And again, there is a saying, and everybody know what it is. It takes a village to raise one child. But in the midst of that village, that forming of it have to come from home. So, and coming from home, I think discipline, understanding, and all of those things are important with the kids, and we have to instill that. And so, our first thing that I think we need to do is to change our kids from the selfishness. We have to get away from the I, the me, and the my. That's, I don't know, my grandbaby is locked with the I, me, and the my. So we have to figure out a way of changing their attitudes, changing their thought process. Instead, I think we should concentrate on the we, us, and the R. We, us, and R, that's equals team, formulating a team. If we get all this together, that's teamwork. That's the first thing that I think we need to do with our youth. And another thing, we talk about the plan. And this is just information for you guys. The plan. And anything that we do, we have to have a plan. And a plan, if I ask what you're going to do today, Willie, you already know what you're going to do today?
Yes.
So you got a plan, right?
Yes.
Is it written down?
Yes.
Okay. I don't usually get that. Yeah, a plan. If you planning to do something, or whatever that might be, as long as it's in your head, it is not a plan. It's a thought. The minute you write it down, it becomes a plan. But guess what? If we just leave it written down and we do not do anything to it, it's just a plan that's written down. Second thing you do, you have to commit to the plan. Commit to it. Third, we have to focus on the plan. There'll be a lot of times where we have a plan written down and we're going to go this way and we don't have any alternatives methods. And we get thrown off our plan. But as long as you got it written down, long as you was committed to that plan, you pull it back out and you refocus. One of the things that I think that's a very important too that I wrote, especially when it comes to the kids, when I'm in a group meeting and got the high schools coming up pretty soon, is I like to utilize what I call the 4 C's. The 4 C's, I'm going to tell you what they are. The first of the 4 C's is called create. Create allows not only this group, but any group to, throw out their ideas. Everybody got ideas. Throw all their ideas out. When we're creating programs for our kids or we're creating whatever at the job, synergy, so we allow creation, which is create, collaborate, ideas. Second C is collaborate. Once you understand the ideals and they've been written down or whatever, you bring the groups together who's working on that, and you talk about it. And you treat everybody with respect with those ideas. That's how you get things going. So it's collaborate. Third C is commitment. Again, commitment is a big word. Commitment. You have to agree to the create of the ideas, the collaboration, the 10 that you're going to work on, and you have to commit to the ones that we're going to go out and do first. But most important, when we're doing this thing, if we already create, collaborate, commit, we have to have confidence. Confidence that we can do it. If we do not have confidence that we can go out and make change, we're not going to make any change. Change. And all of those create, commit, collaborate, confidence equals change. Since we're on change, anybody know what the formula for change is? There are two. In my teachings, I try to make sure that the audience know. Change, the formula for change is current behavior. Current behavior plus vision equal change. There is another formula. Current behavior plus intolerable pain equal change. I try to go with the first one most of the time. For example, say if I ask Mike to walk out that door and to grab a glass and come back in. Mike get up, walk toward the door, boom. I said, Mike, walk out the door. He walk up to the door, boom. About 50 or 60 times doing that. Of course, Mike knows it's going to be bloody. Head, but I said, Mike, why don't we do it like this? Why don't we just take about 8, 9 steps, stop, lean your hand down, push the door open, and walk out there and get that glass. You have to change something. You cannot do something over and over and over and over again and expect the same result. So change. And that's what our society need to embrace today. And so in doing that, we need leaders. We need to bring our kids up as leaders. We need to be leaders. We need to be the role models. That starts with the parents, the community, the industry, just like I said, the village. And everybody know what Webster says about leaders. A leader is a person, organization, guides, and commands. My definition of a leader is a person that knows the way, that goes the way, and most importantly, shows the way. This person is out front. And that's how we need to instill into our kids today. But most importantly, we have to be the example. We have to be the example. So I was going to talk about some other things, but one thing I will talk about is the core values. These are the core values that I live by. Honesty. I do believe that the first step of honesty, you have to be honest with yourself. You cannot be honest with anyone else unless you're honest with yourself, regardless what that might be. Integrity. Integrity is saying what you mean and meaning what you say. Most importantly, ethics. The ethics are the rules and regulations that we live by. I mean, if you're driving a car, say 55 miles an hour, this way, whatever. But I do believe that we have to have ethics, that we hold ourselves higher than just the national standard. We have to have self-ethics. And we have to be able to stick by these ethics. And I believe ethics, in my opinion, is doing the right thing when no one else is looking.
Amen.
Doing the right thing. So, and you know, all of that, honesty, integrity, and ethics, create what we call our character. That means we must instill in our kids about characters, about core values. But we have to understand that ourselves. We have to understand that ourselves. So, how do we get there? How do we get our kids back on path? I believe that we must create programs. First of all, let me start that over. I believe that parents must be involved in everything that we do. Must be involved. I believe we must create programs. Programs that will teach life skills, discipline, mentorship, the 4 C's that I just talked about. I talked to you guys earlier about the option, opportunity / the choice program. We need to create those types of programs for our youth. Now, I tell you, we're not going to catch them all. But we're going to give them an opportunity to be caught. One of the things that my foundation is doing, we just formed this foundation, and I think we're moving along just fine. We created a foundation that's going to offer, over a course of time, these types of training classes. It's a nonprofit organization called the Option Opportunity / the Choice Program. And we're going to offer these programs throughout our communities. We partnership with the churches, the local businesses, everybody, primarily the schools. So our vision is to create a pilot program, which we're going to start at the beginning of the year. It's a 6-week program, and we're going to identify about 20 students and use them for our study. So we will know how and what we need to do to continue to build upon that program and to kind of give it some balance on what success is. So, but some of the things that we need to do is create these type of programs. We need to reach out to the business leaders. A lot of you guys in here. I am on the speaking trail, and I speak at the Rotary clubs. That's what I've been speaking at mostly. We got meetings set up with the Chamber of Commerce, the mayor, a couple other Rancho, a couple other Rotary clubs and stuff. But we are, and it's going to take everyone to help out this revival here. We need to get our kids back on track because they are our tomorrow leaders. So any ideas, any suggestions that you all might have to help us out and moving forward for this mission, our hands are open. I really appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to speak to you today. God bless you, and thank you. Yes, sir.
Do you need people to volunteer to do work, stuff envelopes, mailers? I mean, do you need physical volunteers? I know you're interested in charitable donations to help with the financial end, but are any of these fellows
Well, we're gonna need
to talk to you?
Absolutely. We're gonna need people once we get started. Just like I said, it takes the entire village to raise one child. Yeah, we're gonna need support. If we're gonna be successful in what we are doing, I cannot do it by myself. I'm gonna reach out to the communities, to the churches. Most of the churches are represented in here. We're gonna reach out to everybody. So we're gonna need whatever it takes to get our crusade going to get our kids back on the right track, to also help assist those that might be on the right track already, but they just want to stay guided. So it's going to require help from each and every last one of you. And I'm going to continue to come to this because I love this. This is a great fellowship. By the way, it's been 5 weeks, Zach. But this is. But this is great, and we got to get the word out. One of the things that I talked to Greg about a little bit today, and I'm gonna end this, is I'm thinking about trying to set something up like this for the kids. For the kids, 13 to 18-year-old, where they fellowship on 1 day a week. I don't know how we're gonna do it, but that's just a thought. Just to, introduce yourself to the kids, get an idea of what they're thinking, and because they're not always gonna share that with their parents and other adults, but they'll talk among kids. So we're looking at creating programs to help build our communities, our state, government, national, potentially globally. So, any more questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to give you attention too. They're going to be putting a mission in Elsinore, and a lot of young people on the streets there too that are going into the mission. So we don't be involved in that yet, or we're going to get involved somewhere.
I'm not involved in it yet, but I would love to be a part of anything that's going to be helpful to our youth. Right. So I would like to learn a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
If I can get, you can tell me where I can get a little bit more information about that. I'm sure that our group will be involved in those things. Any more questions? Yes, sir.
Mr. Cooley, this presentation was very good, but one of the things that I've gathered from this presentation that I know we're focusing on the children, teenagers that are pretty much lost with just absent-minded these days, but a lot of these children having children, a lot of their parents are young too, and they're learning a lot of that from them as well. Just the other day I was working out on the track, and there was this mom taking care of her kids. Kids are running around, she's on her phone, Facebooking, Twitter, whatever she's doing, not even bothering to contribute to be with her kids and spend that time with them. And I see that a lot. So I mean, one of the things I know with this program, we can also have put together a session where we get the parents in and sort of mentor them as well, because mentoring them is going to lead them to understand and be more in tune with their kids and participate with their kids as well.
That's a great idea. And that's part of something that Don and I had talked about. We certainly want, especially the young parents or young kids having kids, and we have to get them in there and get some type of training so that they would know how to be parents. That's a very good idea. What's your name? Enrique. Love to talk to you some more about that as well. Any more questions? Thanks a lot.
James, thank you very much.